What's up, peeps? Today, I'm going to be talking about Zelda 2!
One eternity later.
Why did you do this to me?
Because I hate you! You're a quitter! You couldn't even beat me on OJ Hardware, scrub! Get good!
You're too hard! And not the fun kind of hard, like Devil May Cry or Elden Ring. The stupid kind of hard, like Pikmin 2.
Body! Your toe is stubbed!
Ow! What?
Your tooth aches!
Ah! Oh!
Your balls are twisted!
How are you doing this?
I have the power to bring people pain! Because I'm a hard game and I suck!
Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link is the only numbered entry in the series. Interestingly enough, it's also the only mainline game in North America to not have The Legend of Zelda in the title. Both the box art and the cartridge just say Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link. And even then, the Zelda 2 part of the box art is disconnected from the rest of the logo for some reason. Well, actually, quickly on this subject, Zelda 2 was not actually a cartridge release in Japan. It was part of the Famicom Disk System add-on for the Japanese Nintendo Entertainment System, the Nintendo Family Computer, or the Famicom for short. And the games came on these cool-looking discs. Fun fact, one of these discs made it into Pikmin 2 as a treasure, the game being the mysterious Mirasame Castle, which is kind of interesting. But back to Zelda 2. In Japan, the game's title is actually The Legend of Zelda 2: Link's Adventure. At least that's the translation I found for this Japanese text at the top part here. For this Japanese text. But the top part here clearly says The Legend of Zelda 2 with the number 2 and not the Roman numeral 2 like we got over here. It really confused me when I was trying to work on this video. That's why it's here. Anyways, on to the video! Alright, and hopping into the game... Wait a second. How tall are Link's boots? Looking at them closely, they're about 4 pixels away from the top of his foot, so that means his boots go up to his knees. Link's boots must look something like this in his universe. Oh, and also the game's a side-scroller. And Zelda's taking a nap. That's right. Zelda 2 takes place primarily in a 2D plane like a classic Metroid game. And I love Metroid. It's like my number 3 favorite Nintendo franchise, right behind Pikmin and Zelda. So, maybe we're in for a treat. Alright, so leaving the first screen, we're thrown into the overworld that is a top-down, like the original Zelda. And there's also random enemy spawns that can happen, but once you hit them, you're thrust into a side-scrolling section to fight the enemies. And I'm dead. Alright, so before we do anything else, we should probably consult the manual for context for what's going on and where we're going. So the story runs as follows, and it's a bit longer than the first game, so bear with me. And I'm pretty much going to be reading this one word for word because it's just kind of insane. And if you don't want to listen to me ramble about this for like 8 minutes, feel free to skip ahead to the time code on the screen. Hyrule was on the road to ruin. The power that the vile heart of Ganon had left behind was causing chaos and disorder in Hyrule. What's more, even after the fall of Ganon, some of his underlings remained, waiting for Ganon's return. The key to Ganon's return was the blood of Link, the valiant lad who overthrew the King of Evil. Ganon would be revived by sacrificing Link and sprinkling his blood on the ashes of Ganon. Meanwhile, Link remained in the little kingdom of Hyrule and lent his hand to its restoration, but circumstances did not look very good. One day, a strange mark, exactly like the crest of the kingdom, appeared on the back of Link's hand as he approached his 16th birthday. The worried Link went to Impa, Princess Zelda's nursemaid, who was shocked and frightened when she saw the birthmark. When she regained her composure, she took Link to the North Castle. There was a door in the North Castle, called
The Door That Does Not Open.
Only the descendants of the Impa family who served the king knew how to open the door. Excuse me. Impa took Link's left hand and pressed the back of it against the door. There was a sound of a lock falling open. The door slowly creaked open, and there on the altar in the middle of the room lay a beautiful woman. Fuck.
Here lies Princess Zelda,
Impa began to speak calmly.
Link, the time has come when I must tell you the legend of Zelda.
He said it! He said it!
Handed down in Hyrule. It is said that long ago, when Hyrule was one country, a great ruler maintained peace in Hyrule by using the Triforce. However, the king was too a child of man, and he died. Then the prince of the kingdom should have become king and inherited everything. But he could inherit the Triforce only in part. The prince searched everywhere for the missing parts, but could not find them. Then, a magician close to the king brought him some unexpected news. Before he died, the king had said something about the Triforce to only the younger sister of the prince, Princess Zelda. The prince immediately questioned the princess, but she wouldn't tell him anything. After the prince, the magician threatened to put the princess into an eternal sleep if she did not talk. But even still, she said nothing. In his anger, the magician tried to cast a magic spell on the princess. The surprised prince tried to stop him, but the magician fought off the prince and went on chanting the spell. Then, when the spell was finally cast, Princess Zelda fell on that spot and entered a sleep from which she might never wake. At the same time, the magician also fell down and breathed his last. In his grief, the prince placed the princess in this room. He hoped that someday she would come back to life. So that this tragedy would never be forgotten, he ordered that every female child born into the royal household shall be given the name Zelda.
From the stand next to the altar where Princess Zelda lay in a deep sleep, Impa took 6 crystals and a scroll with the same crest and handed them to Link.
For generations my family has been handed down these things, which have been set aside for a time when a great king will come.
Dude, this hurts my throat so much. I need to take a drink. 1 second. Take a sip of Coca-Cola. Let's get some ASMR going here right now. Let's go. Okay.
They are written in an ancient script that no one can read now. But you who have the crest may be able to read it. It is said that the key to untying the Triforce is hidden. Oh, uniting? Uniting. I'm fucking stupid. The key to uniting the Triforce is hidden there. Now it is time for you to read it.
Link glanced at the scroll in half-doubt. But what do you know? Although he had never seen the letters before, he found that he could read them as if they were talking to him. This was written on the scroll. You who will control the Triforce of the future. I shall hand down to you the secrets of the Triforce. There are 3 kinds of Triforce: power, wisdom, and courage. When these 3 are brought together, the Triforce will show its maximum power. Of the 3, I have left power and wisdom in the kingdom, but the Triforce of courage I have hidden for a reason. Not everybody can use the Triforce. It requires a strong character with no evil thoughts, but an inborn special quality is also necessary. Unfortunately, I have not found such a person during my lifetime. Therefore, I have decided to cast a spell on all of Hyrule. The crest will appear on a young man with that character who has been brought up correctly, has gained many kinds of experiences and reached a certain age. But what will happen if someone else uses the Triforce before then? If it is misused, it will produce many evils. The Triforce of Courage is hidden in the Great Palace in the Valley of Death on the largest island of Hyrule. However, to enter there, you must first fight the Guardians and undo the binding force. When you have defeated the Guardians, which I made to prevent enemies from invading the 6 palaces in Hyrule, set a crystal in the forehead of the statue you find. When you have set crystals in all of the statues in the 6 palaces, the binding force placed on the Valley of Death will be removed, and you will be able to enter the Great Palace. There you must fight the last Guardian, and you can obtain the Triforce only by defeating that Guardian. There is nothing to fear. You are the one to get the Triforce. You are a beacon. You are the beacon of hope for Hyrule. Impa implored Link, who raised his head slowly after reading the scroll. This magic spell cast upon Princess Zelda will sure to be broken if the Triforce is used. Please, Link, unite the Triforce and save the princess, and bring peace back to Hyrule. Link nodded silently in approval and left the room after taking a long glance at the altar. Then, when a magical sword in his left hand and a magical seal in his right, he set off alone on his long travels. At that time, Ganon's underlings were calling up new allies from the underworld, and were beginning to work devilishly towards the revival of Ganon. And that's the story. It's far more interesting than the first one, I think. Though it's a little confusing how the real story isn't about preventing the resurrection of Ganon, it's just about reuniting the Triforce and saving Zelda. So Link is just going to be hunted for the rest of time, I guess, for his blood. I don't know. So yeah, we need to save Zelda, but not the Zelda from the first game, the Zelda from like 300 years ago. Alright, cool. This game is where the Triforce of Courage came from, which is kind of interesting, considering that the Triforce in the first one was only 2 parts. And I wonder if that was intentional, but I don't think it would be. But I don't know, I'm just some guy on the internet. I don't know anything. So with that plot out of the way, let's get back to playing the game, shall we? Now, while this game is definitely the most different in the main series, trust me, we'll get to it, there is still a lot of Zelda charm in the game, from the enemies, to even the town names, which are all names that will become some of the sages or characters from Ocarina of Time. This is also the first game in the series to have proper NPCs that all say stuff when you cut them with your sword, like, I'm thirsty, or I know nothing. Okay, so most of them aren't that interesting, but there are the 2 bridge guys who go, "You know Bagu? Then I can help you!" And then they use the power of bridge bending to create a bridge from nothing. But even though a lot of the NPCs don't really have anything to do in the story, it's still super awesome to see the first iteration of Hyrule with proper living, breathing people in it. And also in these towns, there are some NPCs that help you. There is the young red lady that you bang to get health back, and the old orange lady who you bang to get magic back. Also in the towns are guys who'll teach you new moves or give you spells. That's right, spells. This game is the first one to introduce a Zelda staple, the magic meter, a feature that would go on to be in almost every game going forward. But yeah, you get cool spells like the shield spell, which gives you double defense, or the fire spell that lets you shoot fire, or the thunder spell, which lets you strike lightning down on your foes, and there's more. My personal favorite being the spell. It opens the entrance to a dungeon. Correction, Barty, as the footage clearly shows, it does not open the entrance to a dungeon, it just lets you get the key to a dungeon. My bad. And messes up some enemies, like turning blue iron knuckles into slimes and such. And again, it is called the spell. Also in this game, there is an EXP system that you use to enhance your stats, like taking less damage, making spells use less magic, or dealing more damage with your sword. And throughout the world, you can also find 4 heart containers and 4 magic containers, both increasing the amount of max health and magic. Gathering these things are essential to beating the game because, oh, I died again. Because this game is... Alright, it happened again. Okay, and again. Okay. It is without question the hardest game I've ever played. I was less frustrated when I played the first 3 hours of Dark Souls 1 when I was 10. This game was so tough, I couldn't even make it to the second dungeon on my NES. I had to play the rest of the game on the NSO app. with rewind, and it still killed me on the inside to complete this game. You see, Zelda 2 isn't a Zelda game. It's a game for masochists, and it's basically an action RPG, and it makes me want to punch children. I kid you not. I had to grind a level in this Zelda game by killing Tektites over and over and over and over and over again. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to rant. 1 second, I'm just gonna take a sip of my Coke. Give me a second. Oh, it's terrible for me, but Coke's okay. I don't know. I kind of think I prefer Pepsi, but like, iced tea is better than all of them. Alright. Back to it. Now, the goal of the game is, of course, to wake Zelda from her slumber. And remember, not the Zelda from the first one, the Zelda from 300 years ago. The manual one. And in order to do so, you need the full power of the Triforce. Since in the first game, we have one of the Triforce with wisdom, and one of the Triforce with power. Now, we just need to complete the Triforce by finding one of the Triforce with courage, by going to all of the 6 temples and killing the bosses and placing magic crystals into these statue things. And like in other Zelda games, we get different items in each dungeon to progress, and also fight a bunch of enemies, some returning, some new, and others that have only appeared here and in the CDI games. In this one, there are even more non-boss enemies than the first one. There is a staggering 45 enemies. There's some really iconic ones here too, man. Like the first appearance of the Lizalfos and the Iron Knuckle. There's some more enemies that return from the other games, like the Octoroks and the Tektites and the Levers too. And we can't forget everyone's favorite, the Boulder. The Boulder feels conflicted about fighting a small, effeminate man.
Sounds to me like you're scared, Boulder.
Boulder is over his conflicted feelings, and now he's ready to bury you in a rock-a-lanche.
And most of these, again, come with harder variations based on color, and some of them even have new movesets, like the Blue Iron Knuckle, who shoots beams, and I hate him. He is so tough. They literally took this normal, regular-ass enemy and used it as a fucking boss. I have never sworn so much playing a game in my life. I spent about 10 minutes on one of them, and then the boss of that dungeon was a goddamn another one. He has this dumbass ranged attack, and I want to kill all of them, but I can't because I suck. If it wasn't for the rewind feature, I would be still playing the game right now. I hate it so much. Thank God the Nintendo Switch Online app lets me use
キラークイーン第3の爆弾バイツァーダスト。やったぞ、発動したぞ。
There's also the bosses in this one. And I'm going to be honest with you here, Chief. We got a bunch of duds. We've got things like Mazara, Germafencer, Rebanak, Karak, Gooma, Barba, and Thunderbird. And every single boss in this game is super forgettable. And I know this because I can't recall a single time any of them show back up in the series. Except for one. The final boss of this game, Link's Shadow, later to be known as Dark Link. The Dark Link boss fight in this game is supposed to be really tough and challenging. But if you stand in the corner and slash your sword, he dies right away without you taking a hit. What a lame way to end the game. But I am thankful because I had no health left after beating Thunderbird, because you go from that boss fight straight to the second boss fight and there's no time to recover, and if you don't have any more lives like I did, you're screwed. Alright, so that's enough of the bosses. I don't have a good segue from the boss section to this next section, so just, pretend I did. Just pretend it was awesome. So, yeah, this game may be even more confusing than the first game. Like, what? I can cut trees? Oh, there's a temple if I play the fruit between these rocks. There was a mirror under that table? I can get water from this one fountain, and only the one lady needs it. Okay, that's cool. God damn! This video also would not have been possible without Zelda Dungeon. So go there and use their website if you want to play this game, because their guides are really good. Okay? This game reeks of early NES. It's like Zelda 1, but even dumber when it comes to the amount of times I have yelled, "What?" And couple that with this game also still being a game for masochists, I don't think I have ever had such mixed feelings on a game before. On one hand, it's kind of fun. I like 2D side-scrolling action games like Metroid, but God, does this one just not fun? I don't hate it, but I do. I'm done. I'm tired. I saved Zelda. Yay, we banged. I don't care anymore. Oh yeah, that's right. The ads. There's basically no good ads for this game like last time. The Japanese one is pretty good. Here it is.
おばちゃん、これ見てこれ。
おお、ハイラルの紋章。リンクが16歳のターチ。左手の甲に紋章が現れる。これこそが真の勇者の証。アクションロールプレイングゲーム「ゼルダの伝説パート2リンクの冒険」。ここまで来たらやめられない。やればやるほどディスクシステム。
Also, the North American ad isn't nearly as good as the two we got over here for Zelda 1, but I'll show it to you anyways because it still has its own entertainment value and it is part of the history of the series.
Zelda! The legend of Zelda continues. Defeat your enemies, save the kingdom. Beware. Some will help you, others will betray you. I can restore life. I can give magic. I can. I cannot help you. Zelda! Use your sword. Find the crystals. Rescue the princess. Zelda! Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link, only from Nintendo. Now you're playing with power.
I really like the shot of Link banging on the green screen wall with pixelated Zelda sleeping in the background. I think it's really strange, and it has pretty much nothing to do with any imagery from the game other than Zelda being asleep, and all the weird people talking and stuff is just bizarre. It's definitely not as bizarre as the ones for Zelda 1, but I still think it's sort of cool. But with that, that's it. Alright, that's it. I'm done, right? This game killed me. I found it so tough, I had to use the rewind feature on Switch. And even the ads weren't memorable or really worth talking about. I think Zelda 2 definitely has its place in this franchise's history, and some of the stuff that came from it is very influential and very important for the games going forward. But I honestly cannot recommend you play it today like I did with the first one. If you want to play it, make sure to use a guide. But if you play it, you're going to be playing NES Dark Souls on crack. Thank you for watching. I'm going to go start playing Link to the Past now. Peace. Peace and prosperity to this world. And I intend to make sure that we...
Well, it seems like the fabric of reality is destabilizing. Don't ask me, I have no clue. I'm not all knowing anymore. I'm some knowing, because most of my powers are in that goddamn Game Boy.
Hey, it's not a damn Game Boy. It's the limited edition SpongeBob Game Boy Advance SP.
Alright, whatever. I'll set this right with what little power I have left. though things might be a bit different.
Okay. Sup peeps, Endguard Barty here. How's it going? I know it's been a little while. I didn't want this to be another month-long wait for a video, but ended up being like that. I have some more videos coming out before the end of December, so look forward to that. Short Endguard, I'm tired. That's right, guys. The story is back. We'll have more content with it soon, I promise. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you later. Peace.